This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. What day is it, Sam?
It's official.
It's Friday.
I was going to say the day after the Golden Bachelor's wedding.
Maybe you guys should have rehearsed before we.
Yeah.
I was trying to give you a transition.
Don't clap for that.
It is Friday.
Okay.
It is Friday, everybody.
I got my firework dress on because
I
it's
like
Friday.
Baby, you're a firework.
Thank you, Tori.
Absolutely.
Love
And
you.
Al, I got to be honest, you're looking sharp today, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Seems
You
like you
too.
said that begrudgingly.
No, you look
I can't
sharp.
lie today.
you look very sharp.
Thank you. You look great.
I'm
Thank you
digging the
so much.
fringe.
Well, I'm covering some Botox here that might have gone badly, so let's see how it goes. It's official. Golden Bachelor Gary is a bachelor no more. He married Teresa in the first ever Golden Wedding that aired live on ABC last night. Who watched it? Gary's ex Susan officiated the wedding as Gary tearfully got through his vows. Let's take a look.
I choose you, Teresa,
To be my wife.
to be my wife.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
I choose you, Gary, to be my husband.
And now, by the power vested in me by the state of California, it is my honor and privilege to announce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
Well, Teresa wore this strapless Bagley Mishka dress with a plunging neckline and mermaid silhouette. Her daughter and stepdaughter wore these light blue ruffled bridesmaids dresses by the same designer. They got some mixed reviews online, but a lot of people were surprised to see Gary's ex and Golden Bachelor runner-up Leslie Fema at the wedding. She said she was there to support Teresa and, quote, to support love. What do we think, Al? What do you think, Sam?
I want to comment on the ex that a lot of people are giving flack to, saying she's only there to create some sort of a ruckus.
A drama.
Yeah, a drama, if you will,
Yeah.
or the producers paid her. I actually think when you're dealing with, as opposed to the normal bachelor, bachelorette, when you're dealing with women that are more mature, they're going to act more mature.
Fair.
So I do think someone in their 40s plus are going to look at this situation and say, okay, even if my heart is broken, we weren't meant to be. And I really do respect you, and I really became a friend to Teresa, and I'm going to be there. I buy that.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you would totally do that.
20-year-old Sam may not do that. So I think people need to lay off her.
I think in this case, I'm going to agree with 20-year-old Sam. I don't think
What?
you should go.
Why?
Because, first of all,
What if they became really good friends?
I would say there hasn't been enough time for you to say that you're really good friends. I would say that we're really good friends, and we've been together every day for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and like being on a television show together. And if we're to take them at their word that this is true love, okay, great. But if it was and you got your heart broken, are you saying in a couple weeks and you're back on track? You might need some time for healing. And you showing up at this event is, as we are talking about it on a television show, a distraction that people are going to be talking about at the wedding, even if this wasn't televised.
But
this
other
is their
exes
day.
were there.
I just don't think it's a good idea. I didn't go to my ex-wife's her wedding. I love her dude. I love their love.
So you wanted
I
to
got
get
them
let
a
out.
wedding gift. I thought it was amazing, but like that's their day.
What if she's there because she's the next bachelorette? And she needs to do a little, like,
Lori.
keep people in the publicity.
That's
You see what I'm saying?
interesting.
A little
That's an angle.
crossover. There's an angle there. There's just
Yes.
an angle
Okay.
there.
Yep.
There was another big surprise at the wedding. Former Bachelorette contestant Braden Bowers got engaged to Christina Mandrell, who was on the last season of The Bachelor. Braden stunned wedding guests and Christina by getting down on one knee right before the wedding took place.
Wow.
Dude, I
Bad
don't know about
look.
this. After the proposal, host Jesse Palmer said Braden had asked Gary and Teresa for their permission and had gotten their blessing. Still, some people on social media are calling this really tacky. Al, you have a take on this.
I don't. Just seeing that, because I always wait to see it. There's this kind of fraudulent thing people do, Sammy, where they go, well, I asked them. Well, you're there. And when you ask them, it's like when you're a kid, if Sophie wants to spend the night, they'll ask you right in front of the parent, can Sophie spend the night? And they know it's pressure on you. So if I go, hey, Sam, can I do 5 minutes of stand-up before your wedding? You're not going to say no, but you're going to be like, well, I guess we're not going to have the swans. You know, like, it's going to affect your wedding. but it's very passive aggressive. I know you like me. You got love for me, so you'd probably let me do it, but that wasn't the plan.
What do you think, Sam?
If that was a beautiful analogy. He is absolutely right. Not only was it tacky, whoever wrote that took the word right out of my mouth, but it was extremely selfish.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, and I understand too that this is going to be an amplified version of a wedding or a bachelorette party or whatever. It was all aired last night because it is on TV. But at the end of the day, to be so selfish and in your own head that you decide to make this moment that's about two other people, about you, I can't even imagine.
I have to ask you this, Sam. Is it worse that they did it before or after? Which is worse? Before the vows or after? Just in your opinion.
Probably before.
I agree
Me
with
too.
you.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's called MCE, main character energy. It's not your day, dude.
No.
It's not. And also, if I were the woman, I would be like, this isn't that special. We're at somebody else's wedding.
Yes.
It's
Right.
just like, take me to the Swans.
Yeah,
you know?
have a round of drinks I didn't pay for.
Yeah, totally.
Come on, buddy.
It's not even catered for
Open that
me.
bar up, bro.
It's weird. All right, we have to talk about some of the craziness that happened before the wedding, namely the bachelorette party. So the ladies started off, oh my Lord, with a boudoir photo shoot with the women posing in lingerie. That's cool, okay. Teresa said someone came up with the idea for the shoot because she wanted the women to feel empowered. Then things really went off the rails. The women were treated to lap dances by
That looks empowering.
Chippendales dancers who were flown in from Vegas. I guess things don't always stay in Vegas. You know. One of the women, Susan, even brought one of the dancers to the wedding
Somebody
as her
is off
date.
beat. Woo.
Oh my
Lord.
gosh.
That was maybe the most embarrassing clip we've ever showed on the show. For everybody involved. First of all, you don't have a shirt on and you have cufflinks. Super boo. And it's just like, I don't know. Just don't say it's empowering.
Right.
Say we want to get some hot guys in here and rub on them. Because that's what you want to do. Stop with the empowering.
Albert, it's not, I agree with you, but it's not up to them. Just like they say, if you want to be in control of your wedding, don't have your parents pay for your wedding.
Oh, that's fair.
So in this case, if you want to be in control of your
keep
wedding,
talking while you look at this.
don't have ABC pay for your wedding.
Okay.
So again, you want the autonomy, who shows up, what the content's gonna be, what you're gonna do for that bachelorette party, you better be shelling out that dough.
You better be.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know where
did she come from?
I just,
I don't know where that came from.
You could have controlled that, but just that clip, because you're like, oh, well, if there's strippers there, you gotta.
It's not their fault.
I always think I told you famously that story about my dad.
Yep.
My dad was not a fan. He didn't like that kind of stuff, and he had to he was signing a contract with a client, and I guess they were at a strip club. That's how things went down in the 80s.
For sure.
And a stripper came and sat on my dad's knee, and famously, my dad turned around and goes, no. And it just like destroyed. Everybody's like, oh my goodness. Like,
And you tell the viewers your dad was an attorney.
My dad was an attorney. Yes.
That helps.
Yes.
That
The
really
same
does help.
contracts in the 80s
Yeah.
could mean multiple.
Yeah, that's true.
In a strip club.
A better time.
Another time. Wow. Good. May he rest. Coming up on DBL, from the Golden Bachelor to the Golden Globes, we're checking out how host Joe Coy is getting ready for the big event, plus why Barbenheimer might be taking center stage this Sunday. Hi, Barbie. And Oscar Pistorius is out of prison early after the murder of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. Why was he released? We'll talk about that after.
They would put me in recreations once in a while.
Wow.
Okay.
We'll talk after.
We'll talk after. I wanted to talk to you guys also about the Bagley Mishka dress that she wore. Not great.
Why didn't you like it?
Okay, so first of all, she had a wardrobe malfunction and the straps, which were either supposed to be here or up here, kept falling. And that's the one thing you don't want because she doesn't have the chest to fully fill that out. If you are, I have a couple pictures. The dress was just awful. It was ill-flattering while doing stand-up to make and I was amazing, really. I could pick out what kind of dress. So I have a couple dresses I want to show you guys. This I thought she would look better in.
I love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
now this is a very appropriate, smaller chest, nice cleavage. She has a great clavicle. Her arms are also stunning, but give it a little bit of a vintage feel, only because it's a golden bachelor.
Say that 2024 is going to be the year of the clav.
1,000%.
So why not feature the clav?
Our cameraman's been saying
Here's
that
another
for
one.
years.
Maybe she doesn't want, he knows the year of the clav, Ira. He's showing us his clav. Now here's another one. Maybe she wants to be a little bit more flowy.
That dress is gorgeous.
That would be really nice. She's got great shoulders, and if you want to be a little bit more
I thought that would be more like formal event.
it could also be
wedding.
reception.
Okay.
That could be reception. But again, I really love that
I do
moment
too.
for her.
I think way
that
to
would have
go,
been an
Tori.
Audrey thing.
Way to go.
Right.
That's great.
And then minimal makeup and hair, but a simple, nice piece of diamond
I would say
drop.
anybody on DBL that wants some fashion advice, they should write in and ask.
Yeah, if you are looking for bridal, I am excellent at it. If you're chunky and like me and have a little bit of hips, always look for a good ruching like I'm wearing here.
Is it outdated for someone who's divorced or widowed for their second or maybe third, whatever, wedding to wear white?
Not at all. It's over stark white. This man can dance. Thank you, Rob. Thank
Sweet
you for
feet.
that.
Yep.
Steady cam. Welcome back to DBL. Award season is kicking into full gear, y'all. And if we all learn if Barbenheimer will reign supreme at the Golden Globes this weekend. So this year's host, comedian Joe Coy, tried his best to roll out the red carpet. It's a little heavy yesterday in Hollywood. He struggled a bit. It's a little heavy. That's okay. Finally, some friends came out to help him out. The show airs this Sunday on CBS. We're also getting a sneak peek at the seating chart with A-listers like Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Oprah, and more, all sitting at the same table.
Wow.
Wowza. This year, there are 2 new categories. One for stand-up comedy on TV, which Al will win. We know that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed one day, I promise you. And
Yep.
another for blockbuster films that made at least $150 million at the box office. That category will feature a Barbenheimer and Taylor Swift era's tour movie, Showdown. So, are you excited for the Globes, and do you think Barbenheimer will clean up? Just so you know, we got some fashion insights into what a award show might look like from the Palm Springs gala last night. I think it was last night, is that right? So we have a few of these images we want to see that we're taking a look at the Palm Springs International. I thought that was going to go up as we spoke.
No, I wanted to see how long you're going to stall.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Talk
okay.
to me about the Barbenheimer, Taylor Swift, and do you like the blockbuster category?
I do, and I know like the artsy-fartsy people, sorry, Chris, don't like that. But I do think if we're going to get, as a consumer, as a viewer, I'm going to want to see, we never get to see like Brad Pitt because he's not on social media. We don't get to see Tom Cruise. He's not on social media. Taylor Swift, I want to see more of her because she's in her hot moment. It seems like she always is, but now I feel like more than ever. So those people who typically would not be at the Golden Globes, I want to see them.
Okay.
So for that very reason, yeah.
Put it in there.
Put it in.
You don't think it's too commercialized for what should be about the art, the craft?
I mean, look, art got us The Shape of Water a couple of years ago, so I don't want to hear anything from you. I cannot believe you still stand on that, Sam.
Oh my
Sam, it's a
gosh.
conversation
Did you
for
love
another
it?
time.
Chris liked it. Oh.
Chris,
Yeah,
I thought it was
there you
horrendous.
go. It wasn't really a ringing endorsement. But, you know, everybody's like, you know, it's not very artsy, and it's probably true. But you know what? Butts and seats. And these are the movies people know. And yes, a lot of people don't know The Shape of Water, but they probably know the blockbuster. And if you want to bring people in and say, I like the way they have this set up. Oh, I forgot about them. Oh, she looks great in that. You got to get them to look first.
That's
and
what I
these
just
kind
said.
of movies.
That's exactly what I just said. And speaking of butts and seats, who would want to be a seat filler in that table?
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, I'm sorry, Oprah. Can you pass the salt? Everyone.
Tell everybody what a seat filler
tell them,
is.
Tori.
It's when you get paid to sit in the seat when the person is not there, and you can get to just kind of socialize with them.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to talk to
You're
them.
not supposed to talk to them.
That would be my worst nightmare.
It does seem a little
that
awkward.
would be. I would love.
With them just
Very
acting like
awkward.
you're not there? That's very
I'm
meta.
sure they acknowledge you.
No.
Yes. There might not, we're not quite sure if there are seat fillers at the Golden Globes. We're going to check.
Okay.
I do want to move on to fashion. Let's take a look at what we started the award seasons with, right? Margot Robbie. She kept her Barbie style going with a pink and black polka
I
dotted
love that.
mini dress with a cute little rosette. Sam, thoughts?
Ooh.
I don't like that.
Is there clav? Because I keep saying
Yes.
20. Yeah, yes, there is.
Okay, good clav.
2024 is the year of the clav.
Got it,
And her
clavicle.
clavs are nice and shiny. She looks good. So
All right, moving on. Emma Stone looks chic in this black and silver sequined robe.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed.
That's a very Sam
I
outfit.
feel like that, Sam, was meant for you.
Yeah.
I am mad I'm not wearing that outfit.
You look
right now.
She looks fantastic. Taraji P. Henson wore this stunning green.
Wow, that's
Takes
a
my
Tori
breath
look.
away. Oh my God,
Tori
1000%.
loves to show the assets.
Just show the assets
That's
a little.
you.
Get a peek. What's
Yes.
wrong with a
There's
little
nothing
Absolutely.
wrong.
Talk about butts and seats.
Yes.
You gotta, you know what
Yep,
I'm saying?
that would
Yeah.
be you.
That's
that would
me
be
right
you.
there.
Yep,
Taraji,
there's
I love
Tori.
you.
There's Tori.
Kirsten Dunst, who is this? And her husband, I love him. Jesse Plemons kept it classy in black.
Little boring.
I don't love
Boring.
her style.
No.
Don't love it.
Boring.
Leonardo DiCaprio also wore black with, I love his Killers of the Flower Moon co-star, Lily Gladstone.
She's incredible.
She did such a great job in that movie. She
Yep.
wore a green sequin gown. Check out Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, in a pink suit. With your man Cillian Murphy posing together. Sam needs a fan over there.
Yep,
She's
please.
hot under the
Yes.
collar.
I like that bow tie, the kind of drooping bow tie you had on.
I
yes.
The Western.
I kind of dug it a little bit. I don't think I could pull it off, but when you have a certain kind of build, it looked cool.
What do you think about you wearing a pink suit to an award show?
I would do it in
he
a
would
second.
rock
He would rock it
Yep.
beautifully.
I've noticed throughout my entire life, especially because I'm 46, so the guys I know were always weird about pink. Men love pink.
They
It's
sure
like
do.
the coolest color.
It really
goes
is.
with everything. It pops. I think now that we call it salmon so people feel better.
Or lavender. My dad-
Whatever. It's the best
It
color.
really is.
Beautiful.
For years, my dad wore pink suspenders. Still does.
Ooh, I like
Good
that.
look, Jer.
Super handsome.
Super.
Yep.
Coming up on DBL.
I like that.
Serious.
Shout out to Jer.
Yeah, shout out to Jer and his pink suspenders. Change of topic here, but stay tuned because we got Oscar Pistorius. He is released on parole 11 years after killing his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp, and we are talking about it next. Stay tuned.
WCNC Charlotte viewer Claire C. emailed us asking to verify a claim she saw online. Letting air out of your tires can improve traction. But is this true? Let's verify. Our sources are Nationwide Mutual Insurance and Harold Sarmiento, General Manager at Cerdos Tires and Service. According to Nationwide, an important part of maintaining a car is making sure your tire pressure is where it needs to be. The levels can vary depending on what type of tire you own. In fact, your recommended tire pressure will be printed on a label inside the driver's side of your door.
There's a sticker that shows what's the pressure on the tire should be per manufacturer of the car.
But what if you manually release some of the air in your tire? Can that help maintain traction in snowy, slushy road conditions? Sarmiento says yes. However, you should only do this in an emergency situation.
If you lower the pressure, then the traction will be improved a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, because the contact of the tire, the surface of the tire, will contact more with the surface of the terrain.
He says this works best on rocky terrain.
It's not recommended for asphalt roads or concrete roads because it will damage the shoulders or the side of the tires.
So if you notice one of your tires has poor traction, Sarmiento says it's best to just get a new tire. But if you're stuck in a bind and need a quick solution,
In a situation and you don't have the tire, then yeah, lower a little bit, not too much though.
so we can verify that yes, letting air out of your tires can improve traction in some situations, but it should only be done temporarily during emergencies because prolonged driving on tires that are underinflated can ruin the tires and put your safety at risk. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Welcome back. All right, I want to get everyone's opinion on this. This is a serious story, and it's got a lot of facets here. Oscar Pistorius is now a free man. If you don't know who that is, he's a former South African para-Olympian known as the Blade Runner. Now, he was released from prison today after he spent 9 years behind bars. Little context here. Back in 2013, he shot and killed his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. He says he mistook her for an intruder and that when he shot her through the bathroom door, that's why. Riva's mother released this statement saying, quote, "There can never be justice if your loved one is never coming back, and no amount of time served will bring Riva back. We who remain behind are the ones serving a life sentence." Oscar was sentenced to a little more than 13 years in prison for murder in 2016 and is getting out on parole with a number of conditions. He's not allowed to drink alcohol. He's not allowed to do any media interviews. He will be confined to his home during certain hours. He also must continue anger management counseling and attend gender-based violence classes. What do we think of all this? Sam, you covered this at CNN. You know a lot. Can you give us your take?
I covered every detail, not only at CNN, but HLN, Headline News, during this time. And there's so many different facets to the story, as you said. As someone that read the affidavits, heard the witness testimony, heard from prosecution and the his defense team, I definitely believe he did it. Now, there is a history of violence with him. I'll also say his defense is a darn good defense, considering that a lot of people in that building in South Africa and also in Cape Town can attest to the paranoia that a lot of residents feel because of the crime. So he has every right to defend himself. I understand that. But he also he was not charged, but arrested in 2009 for slamming a door so hard on a young woman's head that it created quite life-sustainable injuries, okay? Now, also, he was arrested and charged for his gun going off in a restaurant. He claims that he never did what happened to that young woman. He also claims that his firearm accidentally discharged.
A lot of coincidences.
We have a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
Now, I'll also say the father tried to hear him out. They did some amicable meetings between the two of them where they tried to mediate and really make this work, and the father tried to see Oscar, give him the benefit of the doubt and see him as an innocent man. After those sessions of counseling, he came back. The father told the AP, who's no longer alive, but told the Associated Press that he does not believe Oscar Pistorius and that his daughter was indeed murdered that night and it was not an intruder.
Wow. Al, what do you think also about South Africa is what Sam was saying, their restorative justice program? They really want people who have been convicted to meet with the victims and try and restore it instead of just having a punishment system.
I think it's good in theory. But I mean, when you have a program like that, you're assuming that you're starting from zero and you're like, we'll see how this works. There's decades of violence and bitterness and murder behind that, and until we can't really move forward until we deal with that. And that's the hardest thing for people. Is like, well, that was my grandparents' generation. Well, those people had kids, and those people are raised the people that we're now talking to. So that legacy is still there. So until we address that, it's hard to move forward with something like that, even though in theory.
In theory. Interesting. We'll be right back.
Frigid winter temperatures are here, and with record high energy prices, you might think twice before cranking up the heat. So we looked into some common questions about whether things people do to stay warm are really a hot idea. First up, does turning your thermostat way up heat your home faster? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Energy, the Environmental Protection Agency, Black Hills Energy, and HVAC maker Glen Dimplex. Furnaces have just two settings, on and off. They rely on a thermostat to know how long to stay on. Cranking the temperature up from 60 to 70 will only make your furnace run longer, but it won't heat your home any faster because it only has one setting, on, whether it's trying to increase the temperature 1 degree or 10 degrees. So no, turning the thermostat way up won't heat your home any faster. Next up, can window treatments help save you money? The Energy Department estimates in an average home, 1/3 of heat is lost through the windows. You can prevent some of that from happening by keeping the drapes or shades closed at night because they act as an extra layer of insulation between your home and the windows. This helps keep up to 10% more heat inside your home, which can lower your energy bill. So, yes, window treatments can help save you money. Finally, ceiling fans are a great way to stay cool, but can they also help keep your home warm? In the summer, you should set your fans to rotate counterclockwise to blow air down. This helps sweat evaporate and makes you feel cooler. In the winter, the energy department recommends reversing your fan so it spins clockwise and then using the lowest setting. This pulls up the cool air and displaces warm air that's near the ceiling. So, yes, ceiling fans can help keep your home warm.
As a parent, you never want to see your kids get sick, and the flu, while not a new virus, still has some local parents on social media warning about a scary side effect. They say their kids experienced paralysis after getting influenza. So is this true? Can the flu cause paralysis? Let's verify.
Our sources are the CDC and Novant Health lead clinician Yutube Effiong. While the flu season is active in January, the CDC says it really spikes in February. Effiong says that's why you need to make sure your vaccinations are up to date.
It is the time to get vaccinated against COVID, against the flu. It's the time to get vaccinated against RSV if you are in that age category.
If someone does catch the flu, Effiong says one of the possible side effects could be paralysis. The first signs, Effiong says numbness and tingling in your feet.
So you begin to feel, from the toes and then the legs and maybe the thighs, the hip and things like that.
But Effiong stresses that paralysis from the flu or any other viral infection is incredibly rare.
Good thing is that it's a very rare condition.
And if this does happen to you or a loved one, he says most times it's temporary.
Within several weeks to a couple of months, they will recover completely with no lasting effect.
But still, he says now is the time to practice healthy hygiene and make sure you are following guidelines for preventative care.
Washing your hands, simple things as hand washing, as regular as possible.
So we can verify that yes, the flu can cause temporary paralysis, but doctors say it's very rare and usually temporary. With your Verify, I'm Megan Brad.
Welcome back. Winter weather is upon us, so be sure to prepare your car for it with these tips. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. First up, fluids like oil, power steering, and brake fluids thicken in cold temperatures, so it's a must to change these out. Next, cold weather puts strain on the car battery, so have your battery and charging system tested. Lastly, having tires in good condition is vital for the winter, so just make sure they're properly aligned and then check the tread for signs of cracks and wear. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works for your budget, so if you're looking for better car care, give them a call at 1-800-946-5040. Before we go, we got this little treat for you, Friday Fun Day. New Calvin Klein ad. I don't know if you've seen it. This is Jeremy Allen White from The Bear in the new ad for Calvin Klein showing off his undies.
All right.
Yeah.
But what is he has no business up there. What is he doing?
He's just working out on a gym in his underwear, and he is the bear. Talk about growl.
I didn't get that. I do want to say this really quickly. My mom is at the airport. She's flying to California, and she's, yes, Dr. Jackie Mack.
Jackie!
She says, tell Sam I liked her blazer with the patches.
Thank you, Dr. Jackie. Your son was making fun of it, so thank you, Dr. Jackie.
Such a lie.
As always, we love you, Dr.
Love
Jackie.
you, Mom.
Bye, guys. See you
Safe
Monday.
travels.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Y'all,